For anyone new to the channel, I'm Linda.
And I'm Troy, and we are Wines, Pines, and Canines. Linda and I own a GeoPro 19FBS, but one thing we like to do is look at other campers.
And that's where we are going today. We are taking a 2-hour round trip to look at another camper that is very similar to our GeoPro.
Yep, it's the Jayco JayFeather 166 FBS.
Now, if you watched our Coleman Rubicon video, you know that we are trying to do a series on the single axle under 5,000 pound campers with a similar layout to our FBS. We have been searching and we have found this one today. So we're going to do it in a similar setup where we film the camper and then sit down to talk about it.
Yeah, we're going to go into as much detail as we can about our likes, our dislikes, the similarities, the differences between the two models, and give you as much information as we can. The outside is very similar to our GeoPro. It has an 11-foot power awning, an assist handle with those fold-down steps, and pass-through storage. Up front, there is a power tongue jack, propane bottles, and a battery. Like our GeoPro, it does have a slide, and the black and gray tanks are located at the back of the camper, which includes a black tank flush. And is prepped for backup, and unlike ours, prepped for side cameras as well. Like the GeoPro, it does not have a back bumper, but the Jayco does have a spare tire mounted on the back, which I really like a lot. On the roof, this one has the solar panel installed, a Wi-Fi booster similar to the GeoPro, an antenna, skylights, fan, and AC. Now, let's head inside.
So when you walk into the Jayco, it pretty much has the exact same layout as our GeoPro 19FBS. It has the jackknife sofa with the cabinets overhead and a table that folds up and stores behind the couch. It has the bed that is an east-west with overhead storage, a TV and storage facing the couch, and a stovetop and sink. The only difference here is the microwave is over the stove instead of over the fridge when you first walk in, and both of them have the fridge when you first walk in. Inside the bathroom, it is pretty much the exact same. The only difference I could see is the little shelf. So, initial thoughts. I really liked this camper.
Yeah, I did too. It's got a lot going for it, a lot of features.
Yeah, now one of the most popular features on these campers is the fact that they are boondocking capable.
Yeah, and as far as my initial observation, I really love the off-road package look, the graphics package. I like the sizing of the tires, the rims. This camper has 16-inch tires, the Jayco does, whereas our GeoPro has 15-inch tires, but very similar rims.
Now, another important feature for boondocking is their solar capability. Now, the GeoPro does come standard with a 190-watt panel now and a 1,000-watt inverter. The Jayco is pre-wired for both a panel and an inverter, and you can get the 190-watt panel added as an option, which this one had along with the solar controller. But I didn't see an option to have an inverter installed at the factory. But it's something likely that you could have your dealer do. Yeah. And I think there's a benefit in the fact that one of the biggest complaints on the GeoPro is that it's only a 1,000-watt inverter. True. So having the Jayco pre-wired, you might be able to get a bigger inverter installed.
Yeah, and one of the things I also liked about this camper, and it was immediate for me, was that Jayco took the time to mount that spare on the back of the camper. Not under the camper. If you're on the side of the road, it's going to be a lot more convenient to change the tire, and certainly a lot safer.
Yes, and I think that is a great transition. So we're going to go inside, make some notes, and then we'll be back with our likes and some dislikes.
We're moving into the likes portion of this video, and we both got a lot to talk about. I'm going to do the outside, Linda's going to do the inside. Linda, kick it off.
Yeah, so the first thing inside that I noticed right off the bat is something I've always complained about in the GeoPro, and that is there is an extra fan in the Jayco over the bed area, which makes a huge difference. Still a vent fan in the bathroom, just adding that extra fan. Next thing is there's a lot more storage, I think, in the Jayco. The cabinets over the bed and over the couch both have doors on them, and the ones over the couch are a little bit deeper, just a little bit more storage. There's a lot of drawers all around the camper, and there is, because the Jayco is about 6 inches wider, there is that pantry beside the fridge, which adds a lot of extra space. Now to that, another thing that adds a lot of storage and that I really like are these footstools. Now we built some custom footstools, but there's no place to store them, so they do take up some floor space in our GeoPro. We really like them, but I love the idea of being able to push these under the bed. Next, the TV is a little bit bigger inside the Jayco. And there are lights over the couch, which I really, really like. I just wish these manufacturers would learn to put things on a dimmer.
Also, on the outside, it doesn't stop. The positives keep coming. I've got a number of things that really stood out to me. Right off the bat, I like the fact that they've installed LED lights at strategic locations around the perimeter of this camper, whether it be on the nose of the camper to hook up at night. I like the fact that they have an LED light underneath the side of the camper where the stairs are. So at night you can actually see where you're walking and stepping. It's a lot safer. I think it's a nice feature. Plus the stairs have a nice wide landing at that top step or the first step out the door. Other than that, I like the crash bar all the way around the outside. They call it a brush guard. But it's to keep things away from getting up close to your camper when you're towing this thing. Again, there's plenty of things, and probably the number one thing I like, steel fender wells is going to prevent a lot of damage that occurs when you have flats or you blow a tire when you're towing this camper down the highway. That's a huge feature from this manufacturer.
Okay, so now my favorite item that's outside, and that is this outdoor fridge. I absolutely love the ability to keep some things out in the fridge when I am cooking or Troy is relaxing outside, not having to go back and forth inside the camper.
Well, I walked around the camper and I really took a good look at this thing. There's only a few items that, maybe things I didn't care for, other people might like. And here they are. There's no window on the front of this camper. Now on my GeoPro, some people don't care for it, but I do. I like the fact that front window brings a lot of light into the camper because it's so small. It makes it seem more airy and larger. So the fact that the Jayco model doesn't have a window, for me that's a detractor. The windows function fine on the Jayco. They're typical RV windows. They probably let in a lot of light and a lot of air. I prefer the frameless ones on my GeoPro to those. And thirdly, one of the things that for me really wasn't a big benefit was the graphics package. I thought it was very nice looking and very outdoorsy. There was definitely a lot going on, but I prefer the graphics package and just the entire theme with the GeoPro campers more than the Jayco model.
Okay, so for me, there were about 5 items that I like better on the GeoPro than I did on the Jayco. The first thing is the inside coloring of the cabinets and the trim work. The Jayco was just very dark colors. Now you do have the option to go with a lighter cream on the kitchen area, but the rest of them are still that dark espresso, and it just made it feel a little bit more closed in inside. The second thing was the windows. As Troy mentioned, there is no front window, so between that and the kitchen window being smaller, again, there's not as much light being let in, so it just feels smaller. The third was the bed. Ours is a standard 60 by 80 queen, and this one is a 54 by 80 queen, so just a little bit smaller. Next was the kitchen sink. It is kind of still that small kitchen sink. The GeoPros, they've gone and upgraded to the 15 by 15 stainless drop-in, so you have a lot more room. Jayco just still hasn't gone that route. And the last thing was the commode. It just felt smaller and it's plastic, while the GeoPro has upgraded that one to a porcelain one. So those were our primary likes and dislikes. So right now we're going to talk about some of the upgrade options that are available on the Jayco in comparison to the GeoPro, as well as just some general observations of comparing the two.
Yeah, so what I've got, if you wanted to upgrade the Jayco model, there's for the air conditioning, there's one thing you can do. You can go from a 13,500 BTU model to a 15,000 BTU model. Considering the size of this camper, I think that would probably be a little much. A little bit more sound and a little bit more cold than you need for a 80 square feet. Also, you can get 30-pound propane tanks on this camper, which dual 30-pound propane tanks would be a real feature if you needed it. However, that just adds to the compounding to the problem that most of these couples campers have, single axle, is tongue weight. That's going to add some weight there. So, but you could have them. Here's one thing I like. It's kind of small time, but you have a cable connection on the side of the camper. So if you wanted to bring your TV out, set it outside at your campsite, you can actually hook your cable to it and you're back in business. And more importantly to me, one thing I noticed and it really bothers me about our camper is this camper has 2 speakers, indeed stereo, where my camper has 1 speaker, mono. It's kind of silly, but just a general observation. Also, the storage on the front of this camper, the pass-through storage, the opening and the available area is actually greater in this Jayco than it is in the GeoPro. Just a small thing, but important.
Yeah, now just checking my notes here. One of the things both the campers do have is Asdale on the side, so it does help to keep those weight down on these campers. Another option that you can get on the Jayco that I don't believe you can get any longer on the GeoPro. A lot of campers are moving towards those 12-volt fridges, but they do pull off your batteries. GeoPro has pretty much gone to that 12-volt fridge. The Jayco looks to still come with the gas and propane where you can option to the 12-volt fridge. So I don't know if that's going to change in the future, but that's what currently the website has. But the Jayco also on the inside does not have an oven option that I can find, while the GeoPro still does have the option to get that oven. The big thing too is this year the GeoPro is going to, as a standard, is the tank heaters. Now the Jayco has something called the Glacier package. I couldn't find a lot of detail, but what I could find online is it looks like it has a lot of upgraded insulation. So if that is something that you do a lot of cold weather camping, you might want to look into a little bit more. And then the last thing with the Jayco is they do have an extra year on their warranty. Instead of that 1-year warranty, they get a 2-year warranty. So that's pretty nice as well. Now, as Troy said earlier, there was a lot going on with this camper. There are, I think, just looking at campers, I mean, this thing had a lot packed into its 20 feet. So I know that there are things that we have missed. So once again, just leave those down in the comments. But I do think that when we had been looking, that if this had been an option, it's newer since ours, this would have been a very strong contender. It would have been difficult to choose between the two.
It's a lot of features.
Very lot. One of the big things is, though, with the Jayco and the GeoPro is the Jayco does weigh about 500 pounds more. So, if you're real close on your towing, Jayco looks like they bring it in at 4,995 pounds. So they want to stay right under that 5,000 pound towing, which is very common with a lot of smaller vehicles. So, hope you enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to see more, please, again,
like and subscribe.
But for now, thanks for watching.